There's a reason it's called the Speed. 2.9 seconds. It's quicker than the new BMW M5. This ain't your granddad's Grand Tourer anymore. This is the 4th generation Continental GT Speed. Now, I've always respected the previous generation Contis, their customers, what they were meant to do, but it was never adoration. This car I adore, and it's not that 782 PS or that crazy speed that makes me love it so much. It is the fact that this V8 powered hybrid setup that we've now seen in a lot of cars suits the nature and the purpose of the Continental GT better than anything else I've ever seen. And not just for the purposes of long Continental drives, as the name says, but actually for daily driving and performance driving. I think it's so good, in fact, that it's overshadowed my experience with cars in different classes, like the new M5 or the fully electric Rolls-Royce Spectre. That, and just how gorgeous this new Continental looks, means it's so compelling. So today's a rapid review of the GT Speed, and that means I have to be short and sharp. So let's get up to speed with the GT Speed. So guys, today's video is supported by one of the oldest RBR partners and one of the most established communities in gaming, and that is Raid Shadow Legends. So Raid first supported RBR back in 2021, back in the good old days, and they're back today with an awesome exclusive offer just for RBR viewers, and you have to use my link to get this. You can't just download it off the App Store. And it allows players to get an epic legendary champion, which is rare and hard to get, from their dwarfs faction. Now, I absolutely love dwarfs in popular fiction, whether it's Gimli from Lord of the Rings or Senshi from Delicious in Dungeon. They're always engineering geniuses who are the sturdiest, the most powerful of the lot, and have pretty much the coolest designs. And they're exactly the same here in Raid, where they act as sturdy tanks, but then with power to hit like a train. And they're going to be super useful for some of the main parts of the game that you'll be attempting. Stuff like the Doom Tower, the high-end arena, and all those places that will really allow you to level up quickly. Now, as soon as you download from my link, you'll get a huge starter pack, which will come with an epic champion called Ultimate Galek from the Orcs faction, a great character to start the game with. Get up to level 15, which will take no time at all, and you'll get another epic from the Orcs as well, called Zargala, and she complements then Galek really well. And then the main event for new players, which is the Epic Legendary. It's available till the end of June, and for the first 48 hours when you download from my link, you'll get Tholin Foulbeard, who is the best dwarf in my opinion. He is an Epic Legendary. He looks absolutely awesome. All you need to do is use the code Demon Slayer, which I love because it's my favorite anime. But use that code Demon Slayer and you will get this awesome Epic Legendary into your team as a new player. And don't worry, as new and existing players, you can redeem 2 more promo codes, which I've left in the description below. You can find all the promos in the description, which will give you more useful resources as well. This is a game with pretty much endless content with AAA graphics that you can play on either mobile or on your desktop. And look, so many of you ask me, how can we support the channel? You don't have Patreon, etc., etc. Well, look, just downloading Raid for free and giving it a go will help us get more opportunities in the future, which helps fuel then the content that you guys demand. So give it a go, support RBR. You'll find me under the user RazRBR as well. A huge thanks to Raid for supporting RBR once again, and a huge thanks to you guys as well. Let's get back to the car. So, here is the new face of Bentley in this 4th generation of Continental GT, which returns to the twin single headlights of the 1950s for the first time in ages. And to my eyes, it's the best looking Continental GT, really now getting closer to sports car in design than GT. And it's also the most powerful Bentley ever at 782 PS, thanks to the super team up of V8 power and battery power. Now let's start with the design first. Now this new one, I think, pulls enough from both the Batteur and from the special edition Bacalar to piss those customers off and make the rest of us happy. And like I said, really now coming closer to sports car than a Grand Tourer. And I think it's a really good look because now the Conti GT, particularly how it performs on the road, is distancing itself in both performance and in looks compared to the sedans that Bentley do and the Bentayga. Now you look at the new design, it's beautiful. I love the new lights. They are really, really premium looking. They almost look like fine jewelry encased inside that headlight. None of the twin light nonsense like we see in a lot of new manufacturers these days. Just a beautiful singular light There's Y patterns in there and the lovely DRLs. The Bentley grille is nice and wide here on the Speed with a grey graphite metallic finish, including the air intakes on the side. Generally a really nice and wide front end with a distinctive line going through the bonnet starting from our Bentley badge. It is really, really gorgeous from the front. It looks really low and wide like a sports car. The same can be said of that side view where the roofline, so low, so agile looking. You've got really strong muscular haunches on both the front and on the rear. You've got these massive Speed specific wheels looking huge at 22 inches. They look absolutely glorious. And the rear, I love the rear. The new lights, mwah, chef's kiss. Again, looking like jewelry, mimicking the exhausts underneath that give a lovely sound, which you're going to hear in a second. And then you can see you have that integrated spoiler into the boot lip. And of course, a much more sophisticated way of integrating a spoiler. All in all, like I said, I think this is the most gorgeous Conti that they've ever made. Now let's talk about power. We begin with the epic single scroll twin turbo V8 that produces by itself 600 PS. That gets paired to the 8-speed dual clutch, a electric motor and a 25.9 kilowatt battery sitting on the rear. That gives an additional 190 PS, bringing us to a total topped out level of 782 PS, 1,000 Newton meters of torque, and a claimed 0 to 60 of 3.1 seconds, which is insane in a Continental GT. And thanks to that battery, you also get around about 50 miles of daily usable electric range, which is so useful. And this system only adds 165 kg on top of the standard previous W12, which is damn good going as far as hybrid systems go. Think about it, I mean, that's the same weight as the BMW M5, and it's quicker than that car by some stretch as well. And you compare it to the previous W12, obviously so much more powerful. That only had 659. Yes, it was lighter, but the power to weight on this is better. It's even more powerful than the Batur in the final outgoing W12, though don't let the figures trick you on this, because the Batur has a better power to weight ratio despite having slightly less on horsepower. But either way you look at it, this type of hybrid system with that type of power and that type of range, I think was really going to suit the character of the Continental GT. Then we have everything else that makes the car what it is, namely Bentley's performance active chassis based on its 48-volt system. It has the perfect weight distribution of 49/51 to the rear, and it features all-wheel drive, the electronic limited slip differential, rear-wheel steering, and Bentley's active anti-roll system based on that 48-volt electrical architecture, so it is super quick to react to road conditions. The other thing that's super quick to react to the road is the all-new suspension system with dual valve damper and dual air chamber springs to be able to control both compression and rebound on the fly really quickly. So again, something that's going to make this car really quite dynamic, particularly given the added weight. Now let me be totally honest here with you, where most channels and journalists went. Essentially, this car is a reskinned Panamera in terms of the parts used. We're using the same platform given by VW, the same engine, the same battery, the same motor. Heck, even the electronic system inside the car is reskinned. And this should not surprise you, as they're part of VAR Group, and the new CEO is ex-head of 911, Frank Stefan Walliser, who is an absolute legend in the industry in terms of giving customers what they want. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, don't get me wrong, because the devil is in the details. VW has probably the best parts bin in the entire industry, and Bentley knows how to use those in order to give its customers what it wants. And that's the personality of a Bentley. And personality and delivering a great final product is really what Bentley excels at. And that's reflected in the lineup that you have for the new Continental. You start with the standard GT, which you can think as the foundation. All of these use the same hybrid setup, by the way. Then we have the Azure, which if you think of it as the same as the Conti in terms of power, etc., but bringing the luxury higher, and it's got a nice separate trim as well. Then we have the Speed that we have today, all performance, of course, with the Speed. And then the Mulliner, the best of everything. Custom interiors, the best type of trims, the same power as the Speed, everything dialed to Bentley 11, but your name on the build sheet. And when you look at the pricing, considering things like the Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid are so close in terms of price when you start speccing it up, and things like the Rolls Spectre so much higher despite delivering a similar type of luxury in my opinion, that's not a bad starting price at all. What an absolutely gorgeous digital and analog mix interior the Continental GT has. It is truly a class leader in how luxury should be done in the modern age. Everything about it, from the classic Bentley blower air vents, the dark chrome trim here on the speed that you'll find on the door handles, the window buttons, the vents, the Bentley gear selector here, which is again such a lovely maintained analog part of this car that I keep screaming I want to see in other cars. And indeed the entire section here full of buttons for your climate control and your driving modes. This is a touchy, feely experience like no other. Then of course you have the classic 3 option screen here where you have, yes, your digital screen, but you can also go to the classic Bentley 3 dial, which has your outside air temperature, the Bentley compass, and a clock, which again, this type of stuff we just don't see enough in luxury cars. The only other car that I can think of with this type of thing would be inside a Rolls Royce. But it's not all old hat. You look at the rest of the interior, like our 20-way seats, which are very modern. They have a beautiful speed-specific trim here with the colours going down the sides. Then we have our precision quilt pattern that you'll find on the seats within the door cards, and even kind of highlighted within the trim here on the dashboard. Front driver display has speed-specific displays within there and a number of choices for you to be able to customize. Steering wheel is lovely and round. It's got microfiber on the outside and leather on the inside. Again, nice and luxurious looking. We still have some decent space in the rear section to get a couple of small people in, and to be honest, the boot space not bad for a hybrid car that has the battery behind our rear axle. Now of course this is a hybrid car, so it means we have a number of different driving modes here. Of course we have Bentley itself, which is set up to be a mixture of both comfort and sport. If we head straight into sport, it will ignite the V8 straight away, but we also have of course the EV mode, where you have full electric driving for up to pretty much 50 miles at the moment, which is fantastic here in the summer. And in the EV side, you have a choice of EV drive that maximizes the electric driving, hybrid that then chooses between it, and then you can use hold and charge as a way of course, holding the power of the battery or charging it as fast as you possibly can. But for our purposes in the speed, I want you to hear the sport mode. So guys, starting this drive off, we're in Bentley mode, which if you don't know, is the optimum in order to have comfort and a bit of performance. But in this hybrid setup, the way I've set it up at the moment, it is favoring the electric drive side of things. And what's quite nice is you will see that very clearly on both your driver zone when it's using the EV power and on the hybrid screen if you bring that up here on the middle screen as well. So that is a great part of this system where it is clear as to what you're using and when. And 48 miles, I just want to get this point out of the way first, is a genuinely massively usable amount of everyday electric miles. My daily car is a GLC hybrid and it has just a little bit over that in terms of mileage, but in the last 10 months I've used it 80% electric. And I'm thinking you can do that with this Continental GT. The other super impressive thing is the recuperation, where I've seen this go from 0 to 14 miles just from normal driving in sport mode. And you don't see that a lot in plug-in hybrids. It is super impressive for daily use. But then you go on the other side and you go into sport, and this mad, loud V8 suddenly wakes up and you realize, actually, there's a second personality to this car that I can use when I don't want to save fuel. And the first 100 yards, oh my God, are you blown away by the sheer speed of this car? You saw 2.9 seconds to 60, quicker than the new BMW M5. I know I keep talking about it, but that is, you know, one of the best performance saloons in the world, one of the fastest. And this is 0.5 of a second quicker than that in a Grand Touring massive coupe. And that speed translates into not just launches, but every single interaction that you have with this car. The grip paired with 1,000 Newton meters, 782 PS, and frankly breathtaking handling leaves you wondering, are you still driving a Continental GT? In fact, the speed and the horsepower on offer is so much that really, the horsepower in the standard Continental and the Azure is probably going to be enough at 680. I mean, this feels probably too powerful for most circumstances. So, you know, if you want that, you've got it. This is ridiculously powerful. It's ridiculously quick, as a car called the Speed really should be. The Speed, I think, in this type of system is a given. I think what's more interesting to me is when you buy the Speed or the Mulliner, you're expecting that this handles well, particularly with that new suspension system, as we know, shared with Panamera. It hasn't got the ultra intelligent one that the e-hybrid does, but I tell you what, it's good, it's quick, it's dynamic. The steering, there's that numbness in there that you would expect from a luxury Grand Tourer, but not to the type of levels that you might expect. Actually, it's quite good once you dial up into sport mode. The steering setup, it's clever enough that it gets heavier as you start to drive faster and more dynamically. I think you do lose a bit of feeling and feedback through locks and through turns, but it is still so much further ahead of what you would expect this ilk of car to do. I think you drive something like this and a Rolls Spectre back to back, and this is just going to feel like a sports car in comparison. And that's not just because of the amazing V8 in the background. Now this engine sounds so great. Really make it play like a musical instrument. And I'm sorry that I keep talking about the BMW M5, but this is a similar type of system, but this Varg Group Bentley tuned V8 is so much like, it's on another plane when it comes to characterful sound. It's beautiful, and it's so different to when you're driving, you know, so quietly with the EV mode on. Then you have this really angry V8 behind you. But don't get me wrong, it's not Asbo, but it is, you know, you spent 200 grand on an engine like this and a car like this. You want to hear something, and you really do. It really fulfills that part of what I think is expected of a V8 Grand Tourer. The 8-speed dual clutch is actually very responsive. I mean, given the fact that the Varg Group parts bin is so high quality, there's no surprise there. Now, the cool thing is you do all of that, right? And then you've had your fun. You go back into Bentley mode, back into EV drive, and the car becomes totally quiet, the suspension becomes relaxed, the steering becomes lighter, and now you're not wasting your petrol on doing mundane tasks. Like any great plug-in hybrid, you're using the much cheaper battery in order to do your daily tasks, and I really value this, having lived with it, but you're doing it in such an exciting car. I love this aspect of this, and I know the Continental GT has been all about traveling across continent in a great fast car, but this one to me is about living daily with a great fast GT more than ever. In conclusion, I love this car. It handles superbly well for a car of this weight and size. The speed is insane, the V8 sounds incredible, the interior still has that 1950s charm, and the outside design is modern but just absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. Then I look at something like Rolls Spectre, which is so expensive and it's EV only. To me, I would go for the Mulliner all day long. You get this incredible V8, all this dynamism in a car that arguably looks as good and as luxurious on the inside. And then I can't help but compare this car to the Panamera Turbo E-Hybrid, which is really 180 grand, but, you know, and then you start optioning things. This is, yes, 30, 40, 50 grand more. But how much money is that going to lose? How much more luxury do you have in this? How much better looking is this car? In that sense, so much bang for buck versus both of those type of cars, I think. This is a car that blitzes the BMW M5 in a straight line. It has opulence on the level of a Rolls Royce, yet you can daily it like a great plug-in hybrid. I tell you what, I can't afford this car right now, but I'm going to keep a very close eye on the used market on the future. And what bigger thumbs up could I give a car than this? This GT Speed is something to lust after. See you guys next time.